GNT show is intended for mature audiences. Parental discussion is advice. Live long and prosper, bitches.
Are friends with benefits?
Speaking of having a good time, Terry.
Mm-hmm.
Dayton broke the G&T show. This is now the David Mack
Appreciation Hour. You assholes.
What is it about this guy that people love him so much? With his purple velvet cape and his crown. I thought it was a little much when he had us carry him in the studio on a throne. I am awesome! Look what I have done! Look what I have brought upon the world!
There is an urge to go, nya, 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 nya.
I heard rumors that you might be working on something else, but we won't pry much. I was going to say, if...
I'm going to pry a little.
Dare you! How dare you ask me to change it? Do you not understand the majesty of my genius? And the guy sitting next to me looked at me like he was, like I'd crapped in his hat.
Yeah, it's the professionalism that sells the show. That's right.
And good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are, and welcome to this G&T Supplemental Log with a very special guest this week. But first, of course, looking to my left, your right, decked out in her finest Antholian silk, the lovely Terry.
Good afternoon, good morning, and good day.
And to my right, your left, there he is, someone who suffered from a little too much blood wine last night. So we've got a giant pail, like Odo's pail, next to him. Ceridium.
Kapla.
Aww.
And if you look straight ahead, looking into the camera, there she is, in her Tal Shiar uniform, the lovely and talented Cryptic Kestrel, Christine Thompson.
Greetings and salutations.
Jolan True.
We are so thrilled to have you here.
Always glad to be here.
Nick is just dying to talk to you about Legacy of Romulus.
Well, and Jolan True is very fitting because Legacy of Romulus is some of the best storytelling I've seen in Star Trek in a long time.
Well, thank you very much. We're really happy with how it turned out.
Which, it actually, the first question that I'm going to ask you comes from one of our listeners, Supreme Legate. Mm-hmm. And he says, let me say I think Legacy of Romulus is awesome. In fact, brought me back to Stowe, and I'm having a blast with the new content. I'm not entirely sure how connected to Legacy of Romulus my question is, or if you'll be able to answer it. That's our audience. They're going to ask you a question. They don't know if you can answer it.
That's all right. If I can't, I'll just say I can't.
Or make it up.
Yeah.
You can do like Al Rivera did. Just way back when, before J.J. Abrams, before the dark times, as it were, it has been mentioned that Stowe and the Romulans specifically had a different story. Then bad things happened and everything changed. But I can't help but wonder, what was the original story? What was the original plan for the Romulans? And how much of that story was worked into Legacy of Romulus?
Not a lot of that story made it into Legacy of Romulus. Basically, what had happened with that is one of the very first, I love Romulans. They've always been one of my favorite species. And when I came onto the project, I had these big, elaborate plans for you go to Romulus and you're infiltrating Romulan society and you're sneaking around and you're helping the unificationists and there's like multiple political factions going on. And at this point, I wasn't even sure if we could even make all this stuff. I was like just writing and writing and writing, and then every so often the designers would look at me and go, yeah, we can't make that. But I wrote this whole thing for this whole big sequence of the game that was supposed to happen on Romulus, and I sent it off and I said, hey, to our CBS contact, and I said, hey, you got to look at this, and and he just sent me one sentence back, which was, we have to talk. and that's when we found out that J.J. Abrams was going to blow up Romulus, and we were very sad. So,
sad. I would have been angry.
Yeah. So,
playing on Smash.
Yeah. So pretty much that whole thing just happens sometimes with a story idea that's just not going to work out for one way or another. It just kind of went off to the land of wind and ghosts. It would have been interesting, but there's always story ideas that don't make it. For everyone that gets in the game, we probably talk about or pitch or even start writing 3 or 4 that don't. So, It just happens. And a lot of the ones that can be saved, I keep a big folder of on my hard drive, and I go back and I grab little bits of them now and then, and I put them in other things. One of the examples I use of that is Coliseum, awesome mission in the Romulan featured series. Sorry, it's been a long time. I've written a lot of stuff.
No, I'm laughing because as soon as you said it,
yeah.
Leave me alone.
Slavic's awesome.
You may be the only person that's ever said that phrase.
You know, actually, it's really strange because I made him to be really freaking annoying, and he is to some extent, but he became like a favorite character around here. So every time we mentioned Remans during Legacy of Romulus, somebody said, oh, you've got to put Slavic in there. Oh, you've got to put Slavic in there. And at one point, Slavic was going to be in like 6 different missions. So I'm like, okay, this is entirely too much Slavic. We have to cut it back.
That's why he is in there so much then.
Yeah.
Interesting.
He's a Remoing.
Yeah, but Coliseum is actually a map we started for what was supposed to be an Undine mission. It was supposed to be this whole Gamesters of Triskelion riff, and Undine were involved, and all sorts of things were going on, and the mission just didn't work, and couldn't make it work. But we had this great Coliseum that we'd never done anything with, so when we got to do the Romulan featured series, I was like, all right, let me try to write something that makes sense. Let us use that map.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That is a fun map, I will say.
Yeah.
Now, Obisek. For those that don't play the game, these are some Reman characters.
Yes.
Obisek's in the beginning.
Uh-huh.
Am I right?
He is not very friendly at the beginning.
How did you come up with that arc to turn him into somebody so sympathetic?
Well, I kind of wanted something where the player could decide whether or not they wanted to side with this person. And we were playing around a little bit with the idea of somebody doing the wrong thing for the right reason. Those were 2 concepts that really ended up influencing Obisek. I was kind of surprised that people latched onto him as much as they did. Part of it is just because of the amazing voice acting done by Eric Newsom. But
wow.
you know, Terry, I've got to get him to like record a voicemail message for you or something.
Oh my God!
Next time we have him in the studio, lips out. Okay.
My name is Obisek, and I never listen to the G&T show.
No, it just needs to be just hi, Terrelyn, and just like my little spy. That's all I want.
You know, and so, you know, when we play around with those issues, you know, a lot of what we do is iteration. You know, you start out with an original idea and such, and then, you know, the designers are working on it, the art team's working on it, and we're having play tests, and we're saying, oh, this works, or oh, this doesn't work. And then the designers are throwing their own ideas in, which is great, because we have a very, very talented crew here. And things change. You know, nothing ever comes out quite the way you thought it was going to at the start, and sometimes that's awesome. And most of the time it's awesome. So it just became, along the process of developing that series, wow, we really like Obisek. He's an interesting character. So
and he really is. I mean, because again, I think he was one of the first examples that you had of one person's terrorist is another person's hero.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's also, now he's a very nice counterpoint to Datan, who, you know, I've heard Datan described as a space hippie. And what it is, you know, he was taught by Spock.
He's a Herbert.
He wages peace the way other people wage war. And, you know, some people, even among his own people, might see him as a bit naive, you know, because he's a Romulan trying to do things on the completely the up and up. But so Obisek ends up being a really nice counterpoint for him.
How to feel about that? Romulan trying to do things on the up and up.
Yeah.
How I feel.
You don't know how you feel about that? He reminds me a little bit. What was the ambassador's name in the Vanguard series?
Jatanian.
Yeah.
Jatanian. He reminds me a lot of Jatanian.
Yeah.
Yeah, except his stuff's working.
This is true. Jatan stuff is working.
But he's got people behind him like Obisek and the player characters and such, helping make things work.
One of the things about Legacy of Romulus is, let's put our cards on the table. Things were getting stale for a little bit, and that was, you know, you guys were going through such upheaval at the time, but it feels like an entirely different universe now, in the best possible way. There's so many layers to it now, no matter what faction you're in.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike, you're a Klingon. How much has it added for you?
A whole lot. Even I've noticed on the featured episodes playing through that you guys have gone back through some of them and touched up a few things here and there. And
yeah, we took the advantage to that we were going back into stuff because we had to go back in and retrofit all the featured series for Romulans anyway. We were like, okay, well, let's go through and fix some stuff up. And we had easier ways to do dialogue by faction, and even easier ways, and a way which we had not had until Legacy of Romulus, a way to do dialogue by species. So that is something we're like, okay, where can we go in and where can we make this better? But the Klingon stuff, I have to give mad props to Matt Miller and Daniel Stahl. They led that. They did just such an amazing job on it.
Did a good job with it.
Yeah.
Even on the little bits on the featured episodes that were changed for those missions were interesting. Was it me or trying to get Obasek to play nice is harder as a Klingon?
Klingons look at things a little differently.
Yeah.
That's the interesting thing about the different factions, and one of the things I think is really interesting about Star Trek in general, there is nobody except for maybe like the Borg, and even them not really, you can point at and go, that's the bad guy. That's the guy wearing the black hat. He's the mean. He's the bad guy. That's all he is. Everyone is looking at the world in a different perspective. Klingons are going to look at a situation completely different from a Federation, completely different from a Romulan. So that's what
I would argue with you, the Breen.
Okay, well, I mean, other than we actually don't know that much about the Breen except for Zero's some game and some stuff we saw on Deep Space Nine and what we've done with the Breen featured series. Maybe they have reasons for what they do.
I'm sure they do.
Mm-hmm. I like her,
yeah.
Miss Kestrel. You kick butt. I love this. I am having such a good time. The last time I spoke to you, I had just gotten through what I call the brainwashing episode.
Yeah, mind games.
Oh my God. Okay, and then I went to some. I just finished the Ilachi space station. You go into subspace, and then I came back out. Now that's when I had the lead game, and then Rise totally took me aside. I'm just that way. So I haven't done like the big battle that Al Rivera told me about, but I just have to say again, the tie-in, the way that you've so well thought out the progression of the story, and also hints to other things that we've seen in the Federation and the Klingon play before Legacy of Romulus was released. Were those perfectly intended, or were you able to kind of finagle the idea of the Ilachi growth stuff, and I'm just tickled with?
Yeah, some of the stuff is, we go in, we do it intentionally. Other things were like, as we're making it, hey, what about X? How does it tie into Y? That sort of thing. The story process is a collaborative process here, and in fact, we're right now looking at what we're going to be doing, advancing the story over the next a year and a half, I guess. And so it's a lot of meetings, and I actually have one scheduled for tomorrow where we'll sit down and we'll start hashing some more stuff out, and emails are flying back and forth, and sometimes it just ends up with 3 or 4 people in a room and a whiteboard, and we're just trying to lay all this stuff out. Story continuity is important to make it feel like a real universe, so instead of just a series of disconnected stories. Right. So yeah, it's always something we're considering.
Well, it's definitely showing just by the little hints. Like I said, that there a lot of thought went into what were some of the leftover or hanging threads that I know you purposely put in. Like you said, you try to write your stories as you would a television character, so you can take them in almost any direction.
Right, and we do have to leave ourselves even more than a TV show. We have to leave ourselves more hanging threads because this is an MMO. It's a living universe, and also we're never quite sure what's going to happen in the future. When I started writing this game, almost 5 years ago at this point, I didn't know we'd ever have playable Romulans,
right?
Or that we'd have playable Romulans in this fashion. The Romulan Republic was just, okay, what's going to happen? What could happen after the destruction of Romulus? It was just an idea at that point.
Right.
Cardassians.
I like those brainstorming sessions.
Yeah, the Cardassians are on a tipping point still. They could go either way. That sort of thing. We have to leave ourselves those little... I listened to J. Michael Straczynski talk once about writing Babylon 5, and he said that every character had an escape hatch, where if something happened or the character pulled out or the actor pulled out or whatever, they had something they could do, and they actually had to use some of them. Almost every plot line in Star Trek Online has an escape hatch somewhere in it.
Well, that's awesome, though.
Yeah.
It really is, because but not only that, because it not only do those hanging threads, are they there for you to use? Yeah. They're also something for the player to kind of
right.
think
it's something
about.
That the players can think about and they can speculate. And I love when I see players arguing about, hey, well, this is what this means and that's what this means. A point that actually Terry and I have talked about earlier, but I saw on the forums where people were talking about Hakeem being a liberated Borg because of the thing with his eye, and back in the Romulan featured series, and that was never the intention. So we're like, when we were doing Legacy of Romulus, we're like, all right, we're going to say how Hakeem lost his eye,
and it rocks.
Yeah.
And it's so going to help. I'm usually not this way because I'm such a Federation player. Mm-hmm. But as my Reem, I cannot wait to kill this bastard.
Yeah, wait until you get to the end.
Spoilers.
The Romulan featured series has some changes for Romulan characters.
I need to kill him.
Oh, see, I've only played the Rom with Terehu, so
yeah. Jesse Heineck went back and did a lot of touching up of that series, including some changes for Romulan and Raymond characters that are really interesting. I was very happy with how that turned out. I told
Terry about one of them. I've got a Romulan and a Reman both at level 50, so I've really enjoyed what you guys have done with them. And as I've said, I mentioned to Terry one of those changes that I thought was awesome that I knew that she was going to like.
Yeah.
Wait, which one?
You could
the one with the where I forget the name of the mission, but you have to go into the Frozen and
right.
The name of the mission is actually Frozen. So.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, and you end up meeting
the
with...
no, not the Horde. Yeah, no.
Horde is a Mine Enemy.
Yeah. And it's in that series, though.
Yeah.
You meet Obasek, and you're supposed to capture him, the way it used to play out, you either had to capture him or let him go, kind of. And now there's a third option for Remans that I just absolutely adored.
Which is what?
Join the Resistance.
Oh, my God! I did not know that. Oh, Cassidy, I said, yeah. Now we know where Cassidy's going. I did know that.
Ungrateful pricks. After all the Romulans did for them.
She can't do that. Okay.
They're fighting the Tal Shiar.
Now, two things here. First, we're talking about the changes you had to make because of the Star Trek 09, and today's J.J. Abrams' birthday. So with that, I say, my next question is, how much did the Rihansu series influence you and Diane Duane?
The Rihansu series has always been a huge influence for me for how we see Romulans. It elevates Romulans beyond being kind of mean guys and funny haircuts. There haven't been enough Romulan episodes. As much as I love the Enterprise incident, as much as I love the Romulan episodes that have been in TNG, the Rihansu novels really added a culture to the Romulan. So they've been a big influence for me. And, the idea of Minisahe and all of that, it's always something we were talking about.
I just got all verklempt when she spoke Rihansu.
I try. My Rihansu pronunciation is
It's hard.
Terrible.
It's a hard language. It's terrible.
It is a hard language, and there have been words we've looked at using, and we were like, yeah, nobody can ever pronounce that.
Well, what you just said, I would just skim right over rather than even try and think about how to pronounce it.
Yeah.
Now, can I make a pitch for something as a Romulan fan here?
Sure.
Okay, the Klingons have Worf, and they've got this and that. With the elevated lifespan, is there a chance that we could see AL anywhere?
That's a character I would love to bring in at some point because I just thought she was wonderful. That would be something. If we had the right situation for her, we would have to talk to CBS and Pocket and see whether or not that would be possible.
For those that haven't read Rihansu, she's the main character through the 5 books. The Romulan commander. She's my Diego Garcia.
Yeah. With any character, it's always, okay, do I have the right place to use them? And then, can I get permission? So those are the 2 steps. Then usually CBS and has been really, really good about giving us leeway to do what we need to. There's only been a couple, very few characters that they've ever said no, stay away from them.
Like who?
The one that's most notable is Thomas Riker. And actually, now several years later, as the relationship has changed and as the game has changed, I bet if I said, hey, I want to use Thomas Riker again, they might actually let us do it.
You have his son in the game already.
That is his son.
Yes, Terry Rikers can die too.
Yes, that mission was actually originally supposed to feature Thomas Riker, and then when we did not get permission to use him, we adapted.
So if you get permission, will you go back and change that mission to include him?
That would be... we would have to talk about production and schedules and such like that. I don't think
there's always Mirror Universe Thomas Riker.
Right, yeah. I don't think it's impossible, but it's probably not unless we were going to go back and remaster that episode, it's not a huge priority.
Now, I don't think we've ever asked you this, because we asked you a question. What would be your favorite Romulan episode of the series, not of the game? Of
the series, I love Face of the Enemy, because it gets so into them and what they do and the lengths that Tal Shiar is willing to go to get what they want. And also it's a Troy episode that works, and those are actually kind of rare. So
you got that right.
Yeah, and I love the Enterprise incident. Love the Enterprise incident. It's one of my all-time favorite TOS episodes.
Now, did you have a big say in the TOS uniform being that Romulan commander uniform for females?
As soon as they said they were going to do a TOS uniform, I was sending images off to the character artist going, I must have this.
Very first thing I bought for Trehu was that outfit.
Now, Nick has been away for a few days, and although I was able to discuss it a little bit on Podcast UGC, he knows nothing. And there's a lot of people who know nothing, because I haven't had a chance to write about it yet.
No, nothing, Jon Snow.
Let's talk a little bit about the Romulan
I work for the IRS.
Flagship.
Yeah.
What?
This is something we are just starting to develop, but as the Enterprise F is the flagship for the Federation and the Bortus Q is the flagship for the KDF, the Romulan Republic, they need a flagship too. And so this is something Al Rivera and I have started discussing just over the past week and a half or so. What's the ship going to be, and who are the senior staff on it? And we're starting to hash that out. So I'm not sure how we'll introduce them yet, but I'm sure on an upcoming feature we'll have them in.
Well, there you go. There's AL. Mm-hmm. There you go.
One of the things I will let you know we are considering doing is the captain is female, and the image from the box art and that's on the website is such that everybody has wanted to know who she is, and you're going to find out who she is.
That's an interesting twist.
Yeah.
Now, has her name remained the same?
Her name the name is different from what I told you, because it has actually ended up being a different character.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cool. Can we know the name?
I can't give the name out yet because I still have an email out about it.
Okay.
Yeah, because she has a connection to a canon character, so.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I think you'll enjoy this. I saw a Riemann character named Wait a Second.
So funny. Well, are there any other things that we should be looking forward to with regard to not just the Romulan Riemann storyline, but also, maybe the next update?
I don't think there's anything about that I can talk about yet, unfortunately. We are right now in the planning sequences, like I said, for the next 18 months or so of what's going to happen. And we're looking at something that leads into something else, that leads into something else, and they're all kind of cool. In fact, they're all really cool, and some of them are things that people have been asking for a long time. It's just, I like my job, so I can't talk about what it is.
Well, it was funny. I was asked just an off-the-cuff question by Al, and you can forward it on to me. He asked me, what species would I like to see in the game, or what ship would I like to see in the game, and I would have to say, if you could write the Shellyak in, I would love you forever.
Oh, Oh, that would be amusing. I will have to think about that.
I know what I wanted to ask you.
It would probably drive half of the players nuts for the legalese, but I would just freaking love it.
Oh, but the voiceover would
God.
be so much fun.
Making people have to read. What's wrong with you, Terry? Okay, did you write the Mind Trap episode, Christine?
That episode was a collaboration. That episode was actually done by Charles Gray, who is one of our content designers. He's fabulous. He made that awesome, scary web of mini contacts and such, and then I went through and did the dialogue. So it was very much a group effort.
Well, I have to tell you that being a soldier for 25 years, that is the ground mission in the game that most feels like something I've really done.
Wow.
Yeah, I love that. And thank you guys for coming up with a map that favors the engineer on the ground.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's fun.
Seriously.
It's fun to play with you, especially. Yeah. It is. When you play it, and I'm attacked, it's a blast to be with all those engineers. And just as the turrets are just being laid down all over the place, it's so much fun.
Yeah, I am actually playing an engineer for the first time as I play through Legacy of Romulus. I tend toward science or TAC officers. Mostly my main is attack. It's a different experience, I don't think I totally played to the spirit of the mission the other day when I realized that, the contact dialogue would start the boss fight, so I started laying mines around his feet. For a minute before but it was fun watching him fly through the air.
Oh, I did that when I went back through what was it, Bonniekin, with my Romulan. She's attack, but her away team is, I have 2 engineers on it. So before I would press any contacting, everything was laid out first, and then I would hit the button. And you're right, watching those things fly everywhere. That's the problem. I haven't played one. But see, that's how I started playing an engineer, is when you guys would roll out a new mission, I always played it with my engineer first. Because I had turrets and stuff I could lay down, so I stayed alive a lot longer than I did, say, with my Psi or my TAC. So, yeah.
Yeah, my first Psi, who is a Betazoid, I intended her to be a support buffer type character and just realized I'm just not that good at it in STO. I get, if anybody played COH or City of Heroes back in the day, I have a strong case of Scrapper Lock where I just kind of charge towards the bad guys that want to take them out. So
Leroy Jenkins.
Yeah.
Now, how much input, or really, was there anything that, what was your input with regard to the new Ryzian event?
Well, that's another Jesse Heinig event, who also did our winter event updates last year. He does a fabulous job on those. Yeah. And it was He's something, great. And like I said, everything here is a very collaborative process. So while he was working on that and the systems designers were working on that, we're talking about, okay, well, what can the reward items be? What the names of things? What's a little bit of Ryzian culture we can add? That sort of thing.
Well, it's been a blast. I think I've been playing it for about 6 hours today. And my fingers are a little sore. That's okay.
Well, I will tell Jesse you guys like it.
We've been having it's Caspian Division. There's dance off. Of course, we're having a good time.
Yep.
And now back to kind of Legacy of. I know we're jumping around, but back to Legacy of Romulus. Yeah, it's what we do. Back to Legacy of Romulus. In the lower level sets, you really did change the tutorial, and what is no longer a strict tutorial anymore. It's more hints as you move along as to how things work without being so upfront. How long did it take you guys to really nail down how many levels it would take for you to get through most of the tutorial?
We started working on the tutorial almost as soon as we started working on Legacy of Romulus, and I think it was one of the last things to be completely finished. Tutorials are notoriously difficult. And the Fed tutorial now, I think, kind of shoves too much of the players too fast.
Yeah.
Having this stretched out, because STO is in its own way a very complex game. There is a lot to learn. Expose, exploit, kits, different abilities, skills, all of that. And if you are somebody new to MMOs, or if you're somebody who's just used to, I hit the 1, 2, 3 keys and people fall down, it can be pretty overwhelming, especially when you you just toss in ship combat on top of all of that. So slowing down the process and teaching things gradually just seemed to be the way to go.
Nick, you got the next one?
Yes. Now you've done your runs,
Mm-hmm.
and you're still working on that. What would be your dream next expansion like this? Would it be Cardassians? Would it be Ferengi? What would it be?
The Shellyak, definitely.
Oh, stop it! Stop! Oh my God, Mike, I think I got what you got now.
Yeah. my dream. I kind of got my dream expansion with the Romulans.
I know, right?
So,
you got to live your fantasy and create a Romulan society, really from scratch. You got to recreate the Romulans.
And it's something that's really, really interesting to see how players have latched onto it. I'm really happy with that.
Did you really have
I just have a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Where are the robes from Unification?
Where are the robes from Unification? I will talk to the our character team.
I think that would be cool. Walking around, hooded robes everywhere.
I like them. You know us. I know costumes aren't cost effective, but we're costume horrors. We can't help it.
Mike's a big fan of Return of the Archons, evidently.
Yeah, I love costumes. I have so many different costumes on my characters. That's what extra costume slots are for.
Well, speaking of which, the Romulans, just saying, we need some more costumes for the Romulans.
I would like
or other ones open to them.
Yeah.
I agree.
Like, I don't, and this is honest, how come they can't wear the Ferengi from the Lobi store?
That may be an oversight. I
really want to put Trehu in one.
Ferengi from the Lobi store, I will double check on that. That may be an oversight. That may be something we can go back and fix.
I really want to put Trehu in one.
I love it when Nick gets all cute.
You know, some things it's just technical concerns. Right. Some teams it's other concerns. I've been bugging the character artists for probably 2 years now because I want to wear the Orion sandals with other species.
Yes.
You had to feel
you're not the
so
only one.
amazing when you logged on, and for a while there were nothing but RRWs flying around.
It's so much fun to fly around Taldewa and see that.
even in other zones, I was like in Regulus and in other areas, and there was like 2 Federation ships, and everything else was Rom.
Yeah, well,
as it should be.
Yeah, it's when there's something new like that, especially a new expansion like that. Everybody rushes right to it. I mean, there was a point, I played WoW, off and on, and when Mist of Pandora came out, you just log in and there's just pandas as far as the eye can see. So, and everything shakes out after a few months, but it's really neat to see people enjoying what we've done and what we've spent so much time on.
I know people were racing to get their Daredex. Everybody was trying to race to get that.
Yeah.
For me, it was...
Yeah, and I didn't like it.
Yeah, too big for me.
What?
Too big. It's too big.
I fly an Odyssey for my bed, so...
Yeah.
I'm used to little escorts, little peep ships.
So, if you fly the Odyssey, you're used to things that turn like a boat, so...
Yeah.
I've got a 14-point turn rate on my Odyssey through different
That's good.
stuff.
Just saying.
I like the mobile.
Gotta know how to pimp it out.
What's your favorite thing? What's the favorite part of your job? I know that there are many different things. I mean, most people don't realize that not only do you write all the dialogue, that you also write plot. You also, in that collaborative way, but you also write the scripts for the voiceover. And I know that there was a ton of voiceover in Legacy of Romulus. Yeah. Was that pretty much most of what you spent your time on?
There was just, in Legacy of Romulus, there was just so much of everything. I can't say that there was any one particular thing that I spent the vast majority of my time on. But as far as what my favorite things to do, I love doing dialogue. I love getting that little turn of phrase that makes somebody laugh or just really works out well. But I also like doing lore and plot work. Voiceover is fun because you get to interact with the actors, and most of our actors are just a lot of fun to talk to. It's also one of the more challenging things that we do because everybody's got an opinion on it. Everybody wants to hear it exactly the way they want to hear it. And we're doing it over Skype for the most part, and our actors are scattered all over the place. We were lucky enough that Denise Crosby was actually able to come to the studio, and we were able to work with her directly.
That's great.
Yeah, but, voiceover is fun and extremely challenging at the same time. I will give you an example of the challenge of getting things that people like. I know in Neverwinter they have some characters that have Scottish accents. There have been several complaints about how terrible the actor's Scottish accent is. The actor is from Glasgow.
I was going to say.
Oh my!
Isn't he Scottish? It's really funny.
Yes.
That's awesome.
I can certainly relate to some of the issues involved with voiceover, through Gates and some of the other projects that we've got planning, and we're also planning a new Romulan spinoff.
Well, that'll be cool.
Yeah,
so,
that will.
Inspired by your work on Legacy of Romulus. So we, on behalf of Gates of Stovapor, we send you a mighty Qapla'.
Well, Qapla'. Qapla' in return. I am always making an MMO is a little bit like making a framework, and we build our stories and we build our game and gameplay and all of that. And the really fun part is seeing what you guys do with it, whether it's Foundry missions or role-playing or podcasts or radio plays or whatever. Seeing the creativity that you guys bring to it is just really gratifying. It's a lot of fun.
Well, that leads to our next listener mail question for you. This is from the lovely and talented Allie Mack. Hi, Christine. I'm currently turning my Stowe Foundry mission, City of the Polmar Ree, into a fanfic novel. And oh my goodness, it's hard work. But it's definitely a labor of love. My questions to you are, if you could take a paid sabbatical from Stowe and work on turning one of your Stowe missions into some other format, say a novel or a screenplay for a TV movie or a comic book or whatever, would you do it? Which mission would you choose? And which format would you want to experiment with?
Oh, I would probably do it, and I would take one of the featured series, possibly the Davidian series, possibly the Romulus series, and I would turn it into a graphic novel.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
the Davidian series definitely would be awesome for that.
Yeah. And also the Davidian series, because there's a lot of Franklin Drake, and he is one of my favorite characters to write.
He's featured pretty prominently in the Klingon episodes. Did you have any tinkering with that?
I knew originally, I'm sorry, I don't know if you could hear my phone. I just turned it off. But I knew they were going to use him, and I was like, all right, if you're going to use him, let's talk about this. So there was some back and forth on, what he's supposed to be like and, what motivation he would have for doing what he was doing and that sort of thing.
Interesting.
Yeah, well, I actually really started to like his character, especially in the Yesterday's, or the, I call it the Yesterday's Enterprise episode, but...
Oh, Temporal Ambassador,
Temporal Ambassador. To come across Franklin Drake and not want to punch his face out the first time you see him, you're like, oh, yeah, that's right, we're in a different timeline now.
Exactly.
Such a genocidal maniac.
Yeah, he is.
No, you are. You're so cruel. I don't know how. You're so mean. But most people don't realize that about Terry. She's very mean.
I'm a horrible.
Everybody thinks she's all sweet and everything. No, she's like Trelane.
A sweetheart.
She's like Trelane.
Oh, I'll take that.
Tribble?
A tribble.
Not the Tribble. Yeah. Now, here's your love of Trek obviously comes through when you are researching, and like you were saying, you looked at things. Are there some episodes that you've rewatched so many times to pick up some things that you just need like a couple of years now where you don't watch them because you've just watched them to death?
I need a little bit of space from Yesterday's Enterprise right now. Yes, yeah, we rewatched that a lot. I'm always watching something or another, and I usually just try to loop through the series over and over again. So, because there's 727 hours or something like that.
Yes.
By the time I get back to it, it's fresh again. Unless there's something I'm specifically looking at, like when we were doing the summer event. Okay, well, I'm going to watch every episode that takes place on Risa, that sort of thing. So.
Oh, I'm so sorry that you had to watch. Oh, you know what I'm talking about.
Spots go all the way down.
I know, but that episode is so horrible.
Which one?
So
the one,
horrible.
The DS9 one?
Yes.
Yeah. Worf
so
gets all
horrible.
puffy. I know.
He's totally emo Worf in that one.
He's super emo, even for
But
Worf.
it is worth it to see Quark in his bathing suit.
Another thing that he does not yet know because he hasn't had a chance to partake.
I know about the short pants.
No, about the arguing couple.
There's an arguing couple.
There's an accolade you get if you find the arguing couple, and it's a Klingon and a Trill.
Interesting. I got seasick.
That actually is new to me. Somebody added that to me.
Is it? You didn't know that?
I think it's super cool, though.
And I want to say they spawn in different locations. It's not always the same place. So, and it's only at night. It's very funny.
Here's a question. We've talked so much about Legacy of Romulus that we have not touched on, speaking of Jatanian's failures, Nimbus 3.
Right.
There is a lot of fun on Nimbus 3, and at first I was like, wow, this is gonna, but then when you start doing it, it's actually a fun, self-contained little zone.
Yeah, are you guys surprised we managed to make the Planet of Galactic Peace fun?
Well, I am colored by my Jatanian,
I am too. I'm colored by the Vanguard idea of it as well, so it kind of goes hand in hand with the seedy kind of crazy life that was there. So it's just.
And I hate those worms to begin with, so that was a lot of fun. But I got to tell you, the first time I had to face all those scorpions, I literally was like, ugh. Which is that's nice. And then in the Elachi one with the walkers, Atmosphere Assault, and those, now of course there were a lot of jokes flying about Star Wars.
Of course,
but was that kind of an homage as well, though, or was that just? That
was part homage, part let's try something we've never tried before. And that was something we've been talking about for years, how much fun it would be to do strafing runs and shuttle combat over ground and such like that. And the design team just, Charles and Jesse and everybody just really took it and ran with it and made something fabulous. That's another Charles Gray episode who also made Mind Games. So
it's very fun. But I keep expecting, to equip the grappler from the NX
and use it to wrap.
And use it to try to trip them.
I have fun with it because I'm in a Scorpion fighter, so I am just winging all over the place.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah,
I did it yesterday.
tend to use the Scorpion fighter.
Yeah. That's what I was in yesterday. I was in the Scorpion, and then thank goodness for Beam Fire. It was perfect.
You got a shuttle named after you, don't you? It's my favorite shuttle.
Yeah, it was one of those ones. There were some soft canon references to it, and I was like, you can't name it that. That's my name on the forum. And everybody's like, yeah, we can. So finally, I was like, okay, sure.
Well, that's
my favorite shuttle.
I haven't.
Was it your idea? Go ahead.
No, I was going to say I just haven't had a chance to fly it yet.
Was it your idea to name or to come up with the emote for "It's a Fake"?
There are so many "It's a Fake" jokes around this place. You have no idea.
Yes, I do. Believe me, I do them in work, and I'm the only one that watches Star Trek.
Don't tell me somebody's birthday and they're like, "It's a cake."
It's cake.
It's a fake.
At least once in sitting down and talking about every Romulan episode, somebody said, then he shakes his fist and says, "It's a fake." And I'm like, no.
I know. Now I get the giggles. That's really funny.
It sounds like you guys have a lot of fun in those planning meetings.
Well, how's it been now that, because like I said, just over a year and a half ago, you guys had half the staff, and now you doubled in size.
It's nice having a lot of other people around. It's fun. A lot of our new additions are really, really valuable members of the team. Legacy of Romulus never would have gotten out without them. Right. So yeah, I mean, anything that grows the game is good. And
do you find that you have to educate a lot of people on Trek?
For the most part, we've been pretty cool with that. I mean, there's always some education process that goes on, especially if somebody comes to the team and isn't a hardcore Trekkie already. That's when we start, handing them DVDs or pointing them to Netflix and saying, go, watch it, learn it. You have to know this stuff.
First day of work and you have homework.
Right. But, like Matt Miller, who's a relatively new add to our team, he was a huge Trekkie before he got here. So, he knows Klingons inside and out, and he knows a lot of Trek, so it's a good mix.
Awesome.
Well, we're just so tickled that you could join us. I don't want to keep you for too long. We're pushing that 50-minute mark now.
Oh, no problem. But, also thank you to all the players and everybody who's supported us through the past 3.5 years or however long it's been at this point. The team would not be going this large without you guys, without your guys' support and help and playing the game and enjoying what we do. And it wouldn't keep going without you guys. So thank you very much.
Well, we all three of us especially, but all of our listeners really want to thank you for always coming and talking with us, especially when it comes to, you have like the job that, let's face it, we all want. And no, we're not kidding.
It's true.
It's true.
No, it's true.
It's pretty cool.
I want a job
it's
where
true.
I can work zero, but that's different.
I would not mind being a billionaire.
Okay.
That would be okay with me.
Yeah, we would like that too.
Are we going to get more of the Enterprise F?
We are getting more Enterprise F. The next Enterprise F story is being actually written by one of our designers, Kate Bankson. It's a Kiriyoshi story, so that's cool to get into. But hopefully that will continue in Star Trek Magazine, and then we can bring the crew back in game as well. The biggest problem with having an Enterprise F story in game where we get really deep into the characters and what's going on is because it's your guys' game. The story should be about the player, and if you guys are just standing around and watching a bunch of NPCs do cool things, then that's not any fun. So
how about an Enterprise F novel?
Tell Pocket to call me.
Pocket?
I don't get why people think he's Andorian.
Yeah.
They're aggressive. Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of people complain he's Andorian. That's how he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
He's directly in character.
Yeah, he hasn't called anybody pink skin yet, so, he's doing good. He's
At
pretty
least he's not utterly racist, I know.
Yeah.
Although, did the Typhon pack and what happened with Andoria, is there some way that you think you could work that into how things are in the game now?
That is, when
Since
we
the Tholians are a big part of the game.
Yeah, I read all the novels as, I try to read them as they come out. Like I said, probably, there's more novels than my time sometimes. Like the next novel I'm going to read is Brinkmanship. But we look at stuff, particularly the post-Destiny stuff, and we have to take it on a case-by-case basis of, does this fit the stories we want to tell? Does this fit our world? Like, for example, when Destiny came out, I was like, guys, they kind of got rid of the collective.
I'm still hoping Destiny will come.
I'm really hoping you'll use that as a way to annihilate the board.
Yeah, but we'd already decided at that point that we were going to have Borg in our game and such, and so we just ended up going in a different direction. So, when I always pay attention to the novels because I think the writers there are super creative and they have some really, really interesting things, and then they do some things that make me sad, like there's a certain space station being rebuilt, and that made me really sad.
Oh yeah, we had David R. George on where he talked about some of the mail he got after that.
Yeah.
And the new Doug Drexler design with the it was Doug Drexler's
yes, I like it.
It looks like a gyroscope. I don't mind it. It just looks like a big gyroscope.
I like the new design, but it's not my DS9.
I know. Boy, do we understand that.
Yeah, it's not my DS9 either. I'm currently I'm in the middle of a DS9 rewatch right now, season 6. Just finished Magnificent Ferengi.
Fun episode.
That one.
Fun episode, yes. But also, I'm also working on a Foundry mission featuring the Enterprise F, and I just hope I don't get in trouble for it.
As far as I know, that's not a problem. If it is, somebody should, I think
should stop me before I get too far.
Yeah. I haven't read all the regulations and such in detail, but because those are cryptic created characters, except for Kiriyoshi, and he's kind of a special case. I think it's cool. Don't hold me to that, but I think it's cool.
She just said you have free reign, Mike. That's what she said. That's what I heard, Mike.
Well, I'll still proceed with it, and if I have to make changes, I'll make changes, but I'd rather not, because I think it's a fun little mission.
Now, I don't know if I've asked you this before. before, because having read Needs of the Many and all of that, and the whole reason there was the Klingons and the Federation at war and all of that, are we going to see any kind of resurgence of 8472? Because, and that's what I will always call them, because they were kind of the catalyst for everything, and then fluidicked away.
Always a possibility. Definitely a possibility.
Yeah, the Klingons definitely need to have more missions involving them.
I would have to say, would you be able to even italicize that phrase, Kestrel?
I could. I can't say I can italicize it.
Okay.
Because there's things I can't say.
That's fair.
Mike, do you get the feeling there's an inside joke going on here?
Yeah.
There's always an inside joke.
I know,
Well,
right?
you know what it is, we have soon in italics and trademark after it, when Cryptic says something soon. Or when all game companies say something soon. So I can't not use meaningful italics. No, I'm sorry.
I like it. That's good. Well, my dear, I think it's time for us to wrap things up. And we all
wasted enough of your time.
Yeah,
never
we
waste
did.
of time.
But
We
as always,
appreciate you taking the time and
Really
hanging
do.
out with us for
Are you going to
the
Vegas?
afternoon.
Am I going to Vegas? No, I will not be at Vegas. Sorry. I would love to hang out with you guys. But my
So you got
normal...
Thomas again? Really?
I know Thomas will be there. I think Jesse Heinig will be there. I think there's a bunch of people from the team that'll be there. My normal vacation every year is to go to Gen Con, which is in Indianapolis, and it's the weekend after that. So 2 conventions in 2 weeks is just too much.
Wait a minute. Hold
he's
on.
doing it. But it's 2 weekends.
I do it every year.
But it's 2 weekends. You stretch out your 2 weekends into 1 week.
Yeah.
For her, it would be 2.
I do. I make it a 10-day leave, 10-day
Right.
vacation of conventioning, and then a 10-day vacation to recover from the 10 days of conventioning.
Well, we promise we'll keep you in our hearts in Las Vegas if you do so
Have
for
fun.
us at Gen Con.
Yeah.
And we'll definitely talk to you again probably around the time of the next season's release, whenever that will be.
Sure, be glad to come back.
Awesome. Again, congratulations.
Yes,
Legacy
definitely.
of Romulus was amazing.
Thank you very much.
All right, you guys, that's the end of the G&T show supplemental. Join us next time, which you never know.
When our special guest will be. Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
All we can say is soon.
PM.
Meaningful italics.
You can follow us on Twitter at SundayGNT. You can follow me at Terry Lynn S. You can follow Nick at Gettysburg7. That's the number 7. And you can follow Mike at Soriedem STO. It's SORIEDEM STO. Correct, Mike?
Correct.
Woohoo! I got it right.
And Kestrel can be followed.
At
Or stalked.
Yes, it's cryptic underscore Kestrel, and I have to get back there because I keep forgetting to go to Twitter.
Bad girl.
Yep.
All right, you guys, take care, and thanks so much for listening.
Kapla.
Joel on True.
Joel on True.
G&T Show is a Busy Little Beaver production.
Music for the G&T show is provided by Warp 11, Grethor, 5 Year Mission, and Andrew Allen's Smooth Federation.